What is going on, guys? My name is Sena, and welcome back to another video. I've been playing Valorant for a very long time, since the closed beta to be exact. After multiple years and hundreds of hours of grinding, I've learned a lot of stuff about this game that I didn't know when I first started. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys 20 essential Valorant tips that I wish that I could go back and tell my older self because it would have made my grind so much easier. These tips are in no particular order, so tip 1 is going to be just as important as tip 20, and these tips apply to everyone regardless of skill level. Whether you're a beginner just getting into Valorant or an experienced player who's been playing since launch, these tips will still help you out, so make sure you stick around all the way to the end so you don't miss anything. Right before we jump into the video though, guys, I want to take a moment to introduce you and thank Valorant Tracker for sponsoring this video. Valorant Tracker is the best tool out there for tracking your stats and improvement. You can see a detailed breakdown of all your different statistics such as KD ratios, map win rates, agent win rates, headshot percentages, and so much more. One of the coolest features that Valorant Tracker offers is the Guide tab, where you can sift through a massive video library of lineups and strategies for every agent on every map. You'd expect that for a tool like this, you'd have to pay some sort of monthly subscription or that it would be very expensive, but Valorant Tracker is actually 100% free to download and use. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description or pinned comment to download Valorant Tracker today. Huge thank you to Valorant Tracker for sponsoring this video, and with all of that being said, guys, let's jump right into the video. Tip 1 is something that I really neglected when I was first getting into this game, and that is to practice being hyper aggressive. Some players are going to hear that and say, oh, but I don't have an aggressive playstyle. I like to play more passively, and I like to play agents like Sentinels or controllers. But what you guys need to realize is having a passive or more supportive playstyle without the ability to be hyper aggressive won't get you very far. I would recommend going into unrated and picking a duelist like Jett, Reyna, or whatever you want and just practice W keying. This will help you improve your mechanics by getting in more fights, practice being more aggressive, and practice being more confident. Even if you don't play duelist in your ranked matches, that's fine, but just having that fight experience of being able to confidently frag out and be super aggressive will be a huge help to your mechanics, your confidence, and your overall gameplay, and I wish that I could go back and do this. I genuinely believe that W keying in unrated and going for high kill games will make you a better player. Tip number 2 is to stop obsessing over your rank. I used to do this a lot, and I would get super nervous when I was gonna rank up, and I would think less of myself when I D-rank, and my rank really reflected how I felt about myself. This forms a really toxic habit of linking your self-esteem with your rank, and honestly, doing this is just such a waste of time. Thinking about your rank and obsessing over your rank won't make you rank up. In fact, it'll do the opposite and make it harder to focus on actually improving at the game to increase your rank. Quite frankly, nobody cares if you're plat or diamond or silver or whatever you might be. That's completely irrelevant, and you need to get that out of your mind if you want to start seriously improving at this game. Focus on the flaws in your gameplay, your mechanics, the things that you can improve on, instead of focusing about a PNG that doesn't even matter. I really wish I can go back and tell myself this because this was a bad habit that I used to have a lot. Tip number 3 is to use verticality and understand the advantage that it gives you. Verticality is where you position yourself higher up so someone peeking you will have to flick upwards. Crosshair placement is the most fundamental part of aiming in Valorant, so when you use verticality, you're completely breaking the enemy's crosshair placement, giving you the biggest advantage in a fight. Playing high ground and getting vertical on the enemy team is a concept that I haven't really seen any other Valorant guides talk about. Some of you OGs to the channel will remember me talking about this years ago in some of my older guides, and I still stand by this. Even just standing on a ledge or slightly elevating yourself to the point where the enemy's crosshair placement will be slightly off will give you an advantage, so make sure you're always thinking about this in your games. Tip number 4 is to not get demotivated by losing streaks. Losing streaks suck, trust me. It is terrible. It's the worst thing that could happen to someone who really wants to improve, and it's really demotivating. The best thing that you can do when you're on a losing streak is to just hop off and take a break. Hop off, off, go do something else, and then come back later and play some death matches or hit the range or something. Taking a break, cooling off, and coming back later when you're more refreshed is the best way to break a losing streak. Continuing to tilt queue and spam games when you're on a losing streak almost never ends well, and it's never good to do this. It's a lot easier said than done, but losing streaks will happen to everyone. It's absolutely inevitable, and you can't let it touch your mental. Tip number 5 is good aim is nothing with bad movement. Aim and movement are extremely synergetic, and a lot of players don't realize this. You can have crazy good aim and line up every headshot perfectly, but if you have poor movement and either don't know how to counter strafe or don't come to a full stop before you shoot, that aim will get you nowhere because your shots won't even be accurate and you'll be an easy target to hit. Whenever you move your character, your crosshair moves with it, so you're kind of coordinating your movement with your aim in a way. A lot of players think that aiming is just mouse movements. Before Valorant, I used to play Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, Fortnite, Apex Legends, and in all of these games, you can move while you're shooting and still be accurate, so that was something that I really had to learn when getting into Valorant. Don't sleep on movement because it will be a key aspect in improving your aim. Tip number 6 is learn every agent's kit and what every agent does. Back when Valorant first came out, there were a lot less agents, so it was a lot easier to understand what each of them did, but nowadays there are a lot more agents, and it's really important to understand what each of their kit does. Even if you don't plan on playing all of them, you will definitely be playing against all of them, so being able to understand what each of them does is really important. This might seem like a basic tip, but I'm sure that it can be very overwhelming for a new player getting into the game trying to understand what each agent does. But I promise you that learning each agent's kit and what their strengths and weaknesses are will make you a much better player, and this is something that I really neglected when I was first starting out. Tip number 7 is to never neglect warming up. Warming up is extremely crucial to improvement, and if you're just hopping on and hopping straight into a ranked match, don't be surprised when you aren't performing at your peak. I've made a bunch of warm-up routine videos on this channel, so I'd go and find one that you like and stick to it. Your warm-up doesn't have to be long at all, and it can be really simple, but trust me when I tell you that you don't want to skip it. Tip number 8 is to always hype up your team. I swear, whenever the vibes are up and my team is all talking and we're all having a good time, it's always so much easier to win. Hype up your teammate after they clutch up a round and just keep the vibes high. If your whole team is tilted at each other and clawing at each other's necks and blaming each other, you've already lost the game. Unfortunately, I feel like this happens a lot nowadays, but the best thing that you can do to counter this is set a positive atmosphere early on into the game. Tip number 9 is your minimap is your best friend. The minimap might be the best tool in your entire kit. It gives you information on where your teammates are taking contact, where your teammates are positioned, and what the enemies are planning to do for the round. If you have a teammate playing B and they peek B main and take some space in B main and they don't see anything on the minimap, then you can assume that the enemies are probably grouped up somewhere either A or mid. Using the minimap as a process of elimination as to where the enemies could be playing at is something that I really neglected when I was a beginner. Now that I'm a much more experienced player, I'm always glancing at my minimap and using it to my advantage in all situations. Tip number 10 is to focus on yourself, not your teammates. I promise you, your teammates are not the reason why you're stuck in silver. Instead of complaining about your teammates every game and hyper-analyzing what they're doing and criticizing their gameplay, do it to yourself. At the end of the day, you're the common denominator in every game, so being hyper-analytical of your own gameplay and being critical of your own gameplay and investing in yourself is definitely the best thing that you can do to improve. Blaming your teammates is just an easy excuse, and focusing on what they're doing and saying that, oh, my teammates are so dumb or they're so bad, they're doing this, that's not going to get you anywhere. I'm sorry, it's not. The moment you're able to drop the ego and understand that in order to improve, the only one that you can criticize is yourself is the moment that you will start to see improvement. Tip 11 is to surround yourself with players who are better than you and motivated to improve. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so surrounding yourself with an environment of really good players that all want to improve together is the best environment that you can set yourself up with in order to see that improvement in the long run. Nowadays, Nowadays, I'm mostly just playing solo and have been playing solo for a long time, but when I was first getting into this game, I had a group of friends that I would play with. Even if you get a duo or a trio together that you really rock with and that all want to improve together, this will be really good. It really helps if they're better than you because you can look at their gameplay and see what they're doing and how that works for them in game. You can ask for tips, get help from them, and stuff like that. Just surrounding yourself with people who are better than you at something that you want to improve at is one of the best things that you can do in order to set yourself up for success. Tip number 12 is to become comfortable in clutch situations. A clutch situation, or a 1vx, is where you are the last player alive in either a 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, and you have to clutch up the round and everyone's got their eyes on you. Being able to stay calm and stay cool and just play your best and win out those clutches is the key that you need in order to win those tough rounds. There are a lot of players that get really nervous and don't play to their full potential when everyone's watching them in a clutch, and if you seriously want to improve at this game, you have to break that habit. This goes back to tip 1, where I was talking about practicing being hyper aggressive in unrateds. That will also help with this tip as you will get more comfortable in clutch situations. Just being confident in yourself when all eyes on you and the odds are stacked against you is what will make or break a good player. Tip 13 is to learn every map and the callouts for those maps. I used to play Rainbow Six Siege a lot back in the day, like I mentioned earlier, but after not playing for a few years, they added a bunch of new maps, and whenever I get on to play, I always hear people calling stuff out like, oh, he's Red Stairs, or oh, he's in Executive Office, and it's like, where the hell is that? I have a really poor understanding of a lot of the maps, and that really hinders my gameplay and holds me back a lot, and I die a lot because of it. The thing is that I'm able to recognize this, and if I was serious about improving at Rainbow Six Siege, the first thing I would do is go through and make sure that I understand every map and every callout. The exact same goes for a player wanting to improve at Valorant. Valorant only had 3 maps at launch, but nowadays there are 10, and there's going to be more coming in the near future, so it's really important that you stay on top of this and that you understand each map. Tip 14 is to practice playing deathmatch with scuffed guns. This could be a sheriff, a guardian, a ghost, a marshal, a bulldog, literally any gun that is unconventional, and just running deathmatch with it. This will make you better with these guns when you potentially have them in game, and you'll be playing against people with full shield and rifles, which will give you even better practice if you're on an eco, for example. This is really underrated, and I don't see a lot of people doing this, and I'm always trying out different guns in deathmatch. Running ghost only or marshal only or deeg only deathmatches is actually a lot of fun and really helps get your aim up. I haven't really seen anybody else talk about this, so this is a secret Sena tip for you. Tip 15 is to stop comparing yourself to others. I remember back when I first started playing this game, in episode 1, my whole group that I was playing with was gold and plat. I wasn't playing as much as they were, so they were grinding when I wasn't on, and eventually one of them hit Immortal. I was happy for him, but at the same time, it made me feel really bad about myself and made me feel like I was just so much worse than everyone that I was playing with. Everyone's learning curve and playtime to improvement ratio is going to be different, and you have to understand this. Everybody does this, and even the top tier pros and top players all compare each other. Having friendly competitions is good, but when you start setting your self-worth to these comparisons, it can really bring down your mental and become a really toxic habit. So please remember that everyone learns and improves at their own rate, and comparing yourself to others will be the #1 way to ruin your happiness. Tip 16 is to watch pros and top players gameplay. By watching pros dominate in ranked, you can learn a lot about what they do, such as the positions that they take, the way that they use their utility, and the way that they play off their teammates. Watching the top players play and analyzing their gameplay and thinking about ways to implement their playstyle into your gameplay is a great way to improve. Like I mentioned earlier, if I was getting back into Rainbow Six Siege, for example, I would watch a lot of top tiers play ranked and see what they do. What are good angles to peek? What are the best guns to use? How are they using their utility? Stuff like that, and just think about this stuff and brainstorm it and use it in your own gameplay. Tip 17 is don't play when you're sleep deprived. Sleep is, in my opinion, the most important thing that you need as a human, and pushing sleep aside to grind ranked will definitely not help you. I would much rather any day of the week go to bed early and then wake up early to play rather than pushing sleep aside to stay up late playing. I cannot describe to you how much better it feels to play when you are fully rested. You will have full mental clarity, no brain fog, your mechanics will be much sharper, you'll be in a better mood, and just all around, getting sleep is very, very important in any aspect of life. If you aren't getting at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, I would highly recommend investing in yourself and getting that sleep because it will definitely help you not only in Valorant, but also in every other aspect. Tip 18 is that you will have bad games and bad days. It's really easy to let a bad game or even a day of playing bad really get to your head. It can really make it feel like you're not improving at all and you're just grinding for nothing as you're getting worse as you're playing. I promise you that bad games, bad days, and even bad weeks will happen to you. It's inevitable and it happens to every player. The thing is that you can't let that get to your head and you can't let that demotivate you, similar to the losing streaks that I was talking about earlier. It definitely sucks and it's one of the worst things that you can experience as someone who truly wants to improve, but you just can't let it get to your mental health. Remember that each rainy day will eventually lead to a rainbow, so don't let it get to your head too much. Tip 19 is to remove all distractions while you're playing. Maybe you need to study for a test, or you have work that you haven't done yet, you have to do your chores, or you have your phone sitting next to you. These are all distractions that will keep your mind occupied while you're playing, and you're going to be thinking more about those things than the actual game itself. Make sure that you complete all your other tasks that you need to do before you start playing, and make sure you take your phone and put it somewhere else so you're not checking it while you're playing. This is a truly underrated tip, and it's something that has really helped me out a lot. Every time I have something that I need to do, whenever I'm in a game, I'm just always thinking about that other thing that I should be doing instead. Do everything you need to do, clear your schedule, put your phone out of the way, and take time to play so you could actually get quality time playing. If you do this, I promise you the quality of your games and the quality of your improvement will be much better. And finally, tip 20 is to become a very strong solo player. At the end of the day, the common denominator in every game is you. So you need to be able to hold your own weight and you need to be a very strong solo player. When I was really trying to improve and become the best player that I could be, I spent a lot of my time solo queuing. This isn't really the best way to win games because games are a lot more RNG when you're playing by yourself, but I didn't care about winning, I cared about improving myself. Every player on a really good team has a strong solo foundation and can hold their own. Being able to clutch up, having really strong mechanics, really strong understanding of the game, and not relying on your teammates is the best tip that I can give you for improving at this game. Confidence is key, and being able to shine as a solo player will really get you a long ways. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but a lot of the tips that I gave you will help you as well in becoming a stronger solo player and being able to build upon that foundation. And there you guys have it. There are 20 Valorant tips that I wish I knew sooner. I really do believe that every tip in this video was just as important as the other and each serve a building block in building a really good player. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, this is what I would have gone back and told my younger self when I was first getting into this game, but since I can't do that, the next best thing is tell it to you guys. This is definitely a lot longer of a video than I usually make, so if you guys do like the longer videos and enjoy this more longer style, don't forget to drop a like down below and also subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content. You guys have been killing it with the support on the channel lately and on last video, which was top 5 solo queue agents, so thank you guys so much for that. I know I say this a lot, but you guys have truly changed my life, and I wish that I can thank each of you individually for giving me this opportunity. I have a Discord server linked down in the description below. You guys should come join that. We have a super chill community. We would love to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day or night to watch this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.
Hey, she a nerd, my little baby,